I'm joined by my guest, Michael Hollamby from Hollamby Mackay Bespoke. How you doing, Michael?
Yeah, very well indeed. Thank you, David. Great to be talking with you this morning.
Nice to have you here. We're talking about something that I'm also a great fan of, and it's Dataloft. Now, particularly their Dataloft Inform product that they give to agents to use allows us to do so many different things with it. But maybe in your own words, you can describe what you think it sort of achieves for you.
I think ultimately it gives me competitive edge in regard to just knowing my local market better than any of the other agents. And as we all know, as agents, you've got to have something which is going to differentiate you. And it's great sort of, pushing out your normal media content. But I think people are looking for that trust and also the ability to demonstrate that you know your market inside out. And also with everything that's going on with the national media, I think you've got to be able to cut through some of that noise. So actually giving validated statistics in your local marketplace right down to an individual street is so important.
And I think that's the key, isn't it, with Dataloft? It gives you something that you can communicate to your audience in terms that they can understand. So it's not all sort of agent speak gobbledygook that appeals to people like you and me, because we can talk about the market all day. Absolutely. But the man on the street or woman on the street can understand what it is that we're actually trying to communicate to them.
I think that's really important. I think also just the infographics that they use. So I use a lot of the posts, obviously, into social media and blog articles, but I think straight away people can visualize what you're talking about. And because, like you say, it's not a 2,000 word waffly blog article, it's straight to the point. It's the data that they want to know in a real clear and precise way. I think that's a really important factor as well.
And I think it's also what's key is it tends to be topical. So anybody that's used Dataloft will know that at any one time when you log in, there'll be new updates, there'll be new infographics and charts that are waiting for you alongside your regular kind of market commentary. But so important when we live in a sort of an agency world, which is where the market evolves quite rapidly. So imagine, as we've had recently, the Bank of England sort of make a change. We need to be able to respond to that and put something out on it. Yeah. And they keep up with it, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, that's a really good example, really, Dave, because there's been so much about interest rates, interest rates and the hikes and the changes and things, but cut through, when we cut through that and we look at statistics on how many people that actually affects that are in a variable rate mortgage in the country at the moment, when we bring it right down to that detail, it's still a big market, but it's nowhere near as big as obviously all the sort of, the hype that we're seeing in the clickbait in the national newspapers.
And so without all of this sort of the infographics and the data that you've got, the market reports that, and I've seen agents use them in a number of different ways, because you can simply copy and paste it if you wish. You can put it out there as short updates. You can actually print out these reports and hand them to a prospective customer when you meet them, or you can actually sort of try and tailor it into video updates that a lot of people tend to do. There's so much stuff that you can do with it. What was life like before Dataloft, and how did you manage to get those communications out to your public?
Well, I've been quite fortunate, really, David. So just sort of the reason I went over with Dataloft is, again, I've known sort of Carly and some of the team over there and Nicola for a good number of years. So whilst I set up on my own as an independent agent up in Lincoln only 11 months ago, I'd had the benefit of working as an ops manager for different companies across Lincolnshire. And within that role, we were always looking for market-leading technology platforms that can just do so much of the work for you, but give you that sort of market edge. So I'd had the opportunity of working with Dataloft for a good many years beforehand. So the honest answer to that is it's made a massive difference to those businesses I was working in. Obviously, as an ops manager, you're judged on results. So part of that relationship with Dataloft, it gave me another piece in the jigsaw to really impact those businesses and make them successful. So when the time came for me to obviously look at it and then set up on my own, the honest answer to that is my very first phone call was over to Carly to say, right, I now need to get Dataloft on board. I'm ready to go next week.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's a great testament to it there. And it's not particularly in terms of sort of products and services that we can use as estate agents for marketing and general awareness. It's not an expensive product, really, is it, when you think about it?
I think what this always comes down to is, and again, you know, we see so many posts from agents saying, I'm not getting a return on investment, I'm not getting a result from this. It's something that you touched on a moment ago, it's what you do with it. So in my, you know, sort of my view of things is no, it's not at all, but you've got to look at the return on investment. And you touched on, you know, you can literally click onto the website, you can download their infographic, you can get their editor's choice, and you literally press a button at the bottom of it, which will post it to your LinkedIn and to your Facebook and your socials. You can do that. Like you say, you can then utilize it to print off reports. It can do your letters for you. It can give you all of your infographic in a format which, again, your client base and your marketplace is going to understand. But the key thing where I found the really good results is something that you mentioned about turning it into video. So I work a lot on the videography side of things, and I use that data, and I will do a video, and I'll walk down a specific street, or I'll have a, you know, a visual of somewhere where somebody will instantly recognize it's in Lincoln, and I will take that information, if need be, walk down a specific road or a specific, you know, specific street, if the content is relevant to that area.
Yeah.
And we'll turn that into content, and we'll put it into reels and posts and stories, and we'll cut it all up, and we'll use it not just the once, but we'll use it many times, especially if it's not sort of time sensitive. So I think the answer to that is no, it's not an expensive product or platform at all, as long as you utilize it and you use that content wisely.
Yeah, no, it has that potential to be truly engaging for a local audience, because yeah, that's what local people like, to know things about where they live, and you've got that ability to impart that to them with knowledge and confidence as well. So I'm going to ask you the final question that I normally ask people on these sort of interviews is that if you could recommend this to other agents that weren't directly competing with you, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and to be fair, you know, directly competing, bring it on. Look, we're all. I'm very much about community-based agency, and there's enough chimney pots in any town, city, village location. So, in all honesty, is, you know, whether you're an independent agent and you're going down that route, or whether, you know, you've got multiple agencies and offices, I think Dataloft has definitely got to be in your toolbox, especially with, as I say, with so much noise out there at the moment, and you've got to have the information, the knowledge. When you're going in somebody's room now, and you know you're presenting in their home, it's not good enough to just rock up with, you know, some comparables of properties that we're probably talking about in the marketplace even, you know, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah,
you've got to know what's going on now. So yes, definitely fully recommend you know, the services and you know, the product, but also the team, the service and the contact are brilliant. I get regular, you know, check-in calls with me. It's definitely about relationship with them as well. So whilst, you know, I'm here on my own, and, you know, I've got that partnership obviously with the Mackay and the Mackay Bespoke sort of link, you do also feel a little bit that they are part of the team, and you know, they're there to look out for you as well.
It's lovely when that happens. You know, you get a supplier that is, you know, rooting for you and sort of backing you up with anything that you need. That's absolutely superb. Great feedback, Michael. Thank you very much for your time today.
No problem. Pleasure talking to you. Thanks again.